The Nissan Pathfinder has been in its fourth generation ever since 2013. With many crossovers in its class getting updates and refreshed since then, Nissan is making the Pathfinder much more competitive this year by including more features and updated styling. But is this enough to keep the Pathfinder competitive? Well, let's go ahead and find out and take a closer look at this 2017 Nissan Pathfinder. If you look at the entire history of the Pathfinder, it suffers a little bit from an identity crisis. Back in its first generation, it used to be a very rugged truck-based SUV back in the early 90s and was a lot smaller than the one we have here. Then in its second generation, it went to being a car-based SUV, but was still pretty rugged looking and also was still pretty off-road capable. Then in its third generation, went back to being a truck-based SUV and offered a V8 engine as well. Then you have the one we have here, which is the fourth generation that debuted in 2013, and this is a car-based crossover. Now, Nissan has also updated the vehicle for 2017 for the Pathfinder, and you have these new LED headlights on our top-of-the-line Platinum, which are certainly a welcome styling touch. It's certainly not a bad-looking crossover, but I do think that the Pathfinder blends in when you compare it to other vehicles. It's a little on the conservative side in terms of styling. And then you also do have the new front grille too, which you'll also find on many other of Nissan's products. And you'll notice that many of Nissan's products have a similar type look to them on the front end. I mean, it's a little hard to tell the difference between the Rogue and the Pathfinder, especially when you're just looking at the front ends of both of the vehicles. Now here goes the key fob design for the Pathfinder. You have your lock, unlock, then your power tailgate, and then your panic alarm and your remote engine start. And ours is the top of the line Platinum. It comes pretty loaded, has the full-on leather interior, dual panoramic sunroof, as well as a navigation system. Now this color is known as the Gun Metallic, one of the most popular colors for the Nissan brand. And you also do have smart key access on the driver's door and the front passenger door, as well as chrome exterior door handles. On the inside here, you'll find a full-on leather interior, black leather seats too, power driver's seat with power recline, and your power lumbar. Now stepping on inside of the Pathfinder, the step-in height isn't too bad, and the interior design is okay looking. It's certainly starting to show its age a little bit, and for 2017 Nissan has added in a larger standard touchscreen, but not much has changed with the interior of the Pathfinder. And you do have push button ignition, just put your foot on the brake and hit the button to start, of course. And what you're hearing there is a 3.5 liter V6. You also do have a full leather wrapped steering wheel. Coming to our transmission, CVT Automatic. You also do have lower gear selection. And when you put the vehicle into reverse, this will display your around view monitor. You have a top-down view, and then you also do have cameras on the exterior side mirrors, as well as a rear view camera, of course, and guidance lines and trajectory, all that good stuff. Certainly helps you a whole lot when parking this vehicle. And the mirrors will tilt down when you put the vehicle into reverse. And you do have rear cross traffic alert as well as rear parking sensors. I'm gonna go ahead and turn on the headlights. Lights are already on, and the hazards. Let's go ahead and check out the exterior of the Pathfinder. Automatic driver's side window. Let's go and pop up the hood and check out the engine bay. Heated exterior mirrors. Like I said, you have the cameras on the mirrors here, and we also do have blind spot detection. You have these decent looking 20-inch machined aluminum alloy wheels. Now, the main reason why the Pathfinder is a car-based SUV rather than a truck-based one like how it used to be is because American consumers no longer demand rugged off-road capable SUVs. They want SUVs that are very fuel efficient and smooth riding. Now you also do have LED headlights, like I said, which come in our platinum trim, and you have the boomerang type style LED daytime running lights that Nissan is doing on all their vehicles now. Now powering the Pathfinder here is your only engine choice available, but it's a pretty good one. It's a 3.5 liter V6 that provides a pretty respectable 284 horsepower at 6,400 RPM and 259 pound-feet of torque at 4,800 RPM, with EPA estimates being a decent 20 in the city and 27 on the highway for our two-wheel drive model. Now, like I said, this V6 has been upgraded in power for this year, and you're looking at about 6,000 pounds for the maximum towing capacity when properly equipped. Now, other competitors in this class do offer V8 engines, and some do offer turbocharged 4-cylinders, but this V6 should fit most consumers' needs, as it does provide decent fuel economy as well as pretty quick acceleration, especially with the upgraded power this year. Now, competitors of the Pathfinder, you have the vehicles in the 3-row crossover SUV class. This includes the likes of the Ford Explorer, Toyota Highlander, Dodge Durango, Mazda CX-9, Buick Enclave, GMC Acadia, Honda Pilot. Lots of vehicles in this class. And to be competitive in this class, you have to stand out with something. Now, total vehicle price for our particular Pathfinder, $43,970. And then EPA estimates 20 in the city, 27 on the highway. Overall vehicle score from the government 5-star safety ratings, 5 out of 5. Now, the Pathfinder is also pretty similar in size when you compare it to other crossovers in the class. It almost looks like every other crossover in the class too. Sometimes it could be hard for the average person to tell the difference between all these crossovers out on the market nowadays. You also do have rear parking sensors and a trailer tow hitch. All of your basic power necessities: power windows, power door locks, power mirrors, memory seat settings for 2 people, and chrome interior door handles. Now, interior quality in the Pathfinder is good, but I wouldn't necessarily say it's class leading, but there's plenty of soft touch materials going on inside of here, like on the door panels and on top of the dashboard too. Nothing feels super cheap inside of here. And the build quality isn't too shabby inside of here either. Overall, it's pretty average for a 3-row crossover in terms of its interior quality. Now, the steering wheel design is pretty much the same thing that you'll find on many other of Nissan's products, but it's slightly older when you compare it to some of their newer steering wheel designs, but it's okay looking. On the left here, we do have your steering wheel mounted audio controls, Bluetooth phone controls, voice recognition. Then you have your controls for your information center. We also do have adaptive cruise control as well as automatic emergency braking. So the Pathfinder has pretty much all of the latest safety technologies that are common. You also do have your auto dimming rear view mirror with garage home link, and then sunglass container, LED map lights. And you have your regular sunroof, which is separated from the sunroof that's over here. You have your panorama moonroof back there, which you operate with this button. Gives the cabin a much more open, airy feel, and I do love how it extends all the way back into the 3rd row. That's pretty cool. Also do have a little storage cubby, 2 12-volt power outlets, heated and ventilated front seats for the driver and the front passenger, and dual cup holders. Okay amount of center console space, and you will find an SD card slot for your map, and then 2 USB charging ports, your audio in and your video inputs, and then your 12-volt power outlet too. The center console is also nice and soft touch. Now what I love about the Pathfinder's interior is the seats. The seats are really comfortable in the Pathfinder. Very plush and great for long road trips, and they're very soft. Thigh support is also excellent too. One of the most comfortable seats out of a 3-row crossover. Visibility out of the Pathfinder actually isn't too bad either. There's lots of glass area all around. Seeing out the windshield is pretty easy, and even rearward visibility isn't that bad for a crossover. And I love how the Pathfinder doesn't have really sleek styling, so that helps out with visibility quite a lot too. You also do have dual zone automatic climate control with your fan speeds, your different temperatures, as well as your different zones, and then you have your recycling. You can also control the rear too if you like. Now coming to the infotainment system and the main head unit. Now this is the Nissan Connect interface, and it's an alright infotainment system here. It's a little on the older side. The responsiveness is okay though. Now what I like about this system is that you can actually access the camera from here anytime you would like, which is pretty useful. You also do have your navigation, where you can enter in by the street address or by the points of interest. You can also go to your destination menu and view your turn list too. Then you have your map, which shows you live traffic, points of interest, and you can also zoom in and out, of course, but there's no 3D rendering of buildings or anything like that. This is, like I said, this is a little on the older side of things. And you have your climate control functions that you can control from here if you don't want to do it by the buttons down there. Your audio, all your basic audio sources, AM, FM, Sirius XM satellite radio, CD player, your iPod, and then you also do have Bluetooth streaming audio. Then when you come to status right here, shows you information such as your average fuel economy, your fuel range, and it gives you a little bar graph of your MPG too. And then when you come to information, you can view your fuel economy right here. You have your Eco Drive report, which you kind of have like a score, which is, it kind of feels like you're playing a video game or something like that. And you can, it shows you, you know, what your score is when you start or when you're on cruise, and then you have your deceleration too. Then you have your nearby traffic info that you can view, your map information, Nissan Connect services, which gives you services like your destination send a car, your Google send a car, your journey planner, and you have to actually have to have a subscription, of course. And then your Sirius XM info too, which gives you things like your weather, fuel prices, sports stocks, movie listings, that basic stuff. Then you have your digital clock right there too. But overall, this infotainment system and head unit is okay. Like I said, the navigation is a little on the older side, but the responsiveness is good. It's pretty user friendly, but it's not their newest head unit available. It's not their head unit that you'll find in like the Nissan Maxima, which is what they really should put inside of here. Coming to the gauges and the instrument cluster, pretty simple looking setup here. And then you have your driver information center. On the left you have your tachometer, and on the right speedometer. And in the center shows you information such as your tire pressure monitoring, what radio station is playing your audio source, direction of travel, any warning messages, and you can change other settings like your driver assistance, vehicle settings. It also shows you what safety technologies are on or off too. Overall, pretty basic stuff here, but it's pretty useful and is controlled by the buttons on the steering wheel. Now, what I love about the interior of the Pathfinder is that it does feel pretty spacious inside of here, and I found a pretty comfortable driving position. I'm about 6 feet tall. Now, as far as the way this vehicle drives, if you're looking for more of a comfort-oriented type of crossover, the Pathfinder will certainly deliver. The ride quality is pretty comfortable overall. However, if you do get a platinum trim with the larger 20-inch wheels, then the ride is a little on the firmer side when you compare it to the other trims of the Pathfinder. but it's pretty quiet at highway speeds, and I love the V6 engine as it provides pretty brisk acceleration, and the towing capacity rating is higher than average with the 6,000 pounds. And the best part is the fuel economy with the 20 in the city and 27 on the highway. That's partly thanks to this CVT automatic transmission. And the CVT is one of the better CVTs out there. It doesn't drone as much, and it mimics a typical or a traditional automatic transmission like a 6-speed pretty good, but the CVT shouldn't be a huge problem. And also, if you're looking for good fuel economy and a decent ride quality, the Pathfinder will certainly deliver. But if a jaw-dropping performance type of crossovers, that's what you're looking for, I suggest going with the Dodge Durango, which provides the Hemi V8 engine. But overall, the Pathfinder is pretty competitive in the way it drives. The only thing that's not as good is the steering and the handling. That's certainly really not any crossover's expertise, but the Pathfinder is certainly a little vague and its steering a little numb. This isn't supposed to be a sporty type of crossover here, but it is a very comfortable crossover to drive. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and check out the rest of the vehicle. Let's go ahead and check out the cargo space as well as the rear seat passenger space. Materials do follow through in the rear. And these second row seats do recline, and they do slide forward and aft for greater comfort. But back here in the second row, there's an okay amount of legroom. Wouldn't necessarily say it's class leading though. You have a cup holder back here, as well as your rear climate controls and a 120 volt power outlet, as well as heated rear seats, dual map pockets, and a rear center armrest with cup holders. The seats themselves back here are a little firmer than the front ones though, and thigh support isn't as good either. But I really do love the sunroof. Now to get into the third row, it's a pretty easy mechanism. Just pick this part up, push the seat forward, and hop right in. It's as easy as that. And when you're sitting back here in the Pathfinder, it's a little on the smaller side, but it's not too bad. I can fit back here pretty comfortably as long as this seat isn't all the way back from the for the second row. And then you do have cup holders back here as well as rear air vents too, which is pretty cool. All right. You have your power tailgate. It also is motion activated as well. And the rear seats do fold down back here in the Pathfinder. And when you fold the seats down, there's plenty of cargo space. And then you also do have a 12 volt power outlet back here too. So with its good power, reasonable fuel efficiency, comfortable nature, and plenty of technology available, the 2017 Nissan Pathfinder is a pretty good choice for a 3-row crossover SUV. So remember that this is Cameron Birch from Cameron's Car Reviews.